So on my way over here to record this episode, I was doing my usual and jamming out to Billie Eilish, the song Happier Than Ever. If you haven't heard the song, the ending gets to a very aggressive screaming part of the song. So I was in Billie mode and doing that as well. And while I was at a stoplight and I turn and I look and a car next to me is just staring me down like this crazy person. So I got very embarrassed and just stopped singing. Well, I was continuing to sing, but not as crazy. But
just start whispering it under your
Yeah,
breath.
exactly. But I am that person that if I'm in my car and I have music on, I'm totally singing along and jamming out, having a concert to myself, thinking I'm like auditioning for The Voice or something, and all four chairs turned for me.
I am screaming at the top of my lungs. I am singing. I remember a couple years ago, there was this show, and they would like put cameras in people's cars and then kind of embarrass them and like play footage of them singing along in the car. And I was always like, please, if anyone ever does this to me, I'm going to be so embarrassed because I cannot sing, y'all. I'm a terrible singer, but I try. And sometimes I pick my nose while I drive, so no one needs to see that either.
No, yeah, I do it all the time.
Pick your nose or sing?
Well, both. All the time. Actually, I was driving over here as well, singing. I was listening to Lil Wayne's Carter 2 album. I forgot how good that was. Nice. But while I was driving on the highway, I look over to my right real quick, and homie to the right was also singing.
Yes.
I mean, he was in his own zone, so he didn't notice me. But it's a thing that people do. And I think, hey, live a little.
I don't just sing in the car. Like, I sing in the shower. I sing in the kitchen. My kids get sick of me singing, I think, sometimes because I never stop singing. I'm that type of person that turns everything into a song. So instead of being like, what do you guys want for dinner? It turns into like, do you guys want pizza again tonight? And they're like, shut up. We're so sick of that.
That kind of slapped.
I do what I can. I just wrote it. But like, have you guys seen in those movies where there's like, it's usually in like chick flicks or rom-coms, whatever you want to call them, and it'll be like a girl gang, and suddenly they're all just like dancing around a couch in a living room, singing along to some Aretha Franklin song or something, and you're like, that's so unrealistic. Who does this? I do that.
Oh, me and my friends do that for real. Yeah. I mean, especially if there are beverages involved, then it is singing, dancing, rolling on the ground.
Coming in hot from Olympus Games in Mesa, Arizona.
It's the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast, where we talk news, reviews, and things you should either be watching, listening to, reading, everything in between. Let's introduce ourselves and tell everyone who we are.
I'm Shauna.
This is Alex.
I'm Hayley.
And I'm Nicole, and thank you for listening to our podcast. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, thank you again for listening. And for this week's episode, let's just get right into what we are popping or dropping for the week.
Down.
I thought she was going to start. She said that.
All right. So pop it or drop it reviews, stuff that I have been watching and paying attention to. First up is The Rookie. A lot of people are familiar with this show. It stars Nathan Fillion. It is an ABC drama about a cop who gets started later in life. So he's in his 40s and he decides to become a police officer. And so it's that kind of stereotypical like police drama, a little sensationalized, a little bit like other shows like 911 that are a little over the top. But Nathan Fillion plays John Nolan. This season, we get to see a new love interest for him. Jenna Dewan joins the cast, which
she's pretty.
She is gorgeous, and I have really liked having her. It's in its 4th season, so we've seen some cast members change throughout the years. And I'm going to say, pop this show if you like crime dramas. I've got friends in law enforcement who absolutely hate it because of how unrealistic it is. And so, if you're like that type that needs realism in TV, then it's not the show for you.
What do you mean? Is it like everything's blowing up exaggerated?
Kind of, yeah. It's like, there's like a person, it's like set in LA and like the cop goes out on his normal everyday beat, but then like one of the cops gets kidnapped and they have to go to Uruguay to go save them. And you're like, this is not real life. But
normal police work.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I'm the type of person where I don't want to see normal police work on TV. And I don't want to see every day, like the news bums me out. So I like sensationalized, like over the top, kind of dramatic stuff. So if you're into that, check out The Rookie. If you're a fellow Law and Order fan like Nicole and I, The Rookie is a nice little pivot for you. Other than that, had the awesome opportunity to go see John Mulaney come here.
Jealous.
In tour. His tour is called From Scratch. And we just bought last minute tickets. It was like a last minute spur of the moment thing, kind of cheap seats. And I am so glad we went. He was selling shirts that said, I saw him right when he got out of rehab. And I leaned over to my husband right before we walked in and I was like, so help me if he skips over like all the drama surrounding his life and just tries to entertain us like normal.
You have to talk about it.
Whole like first 45 minutes is just about all like rehab and having a baby and the reactions of the public and really self-deprecating. Halfway through, he gave a really detailed lesson on how to get drugs without a prescription.
Can you rehash that just for science?
He's like, no law enforcement in the audience tonight. But yeah, it was absolutely hilarious. It was like I left, my face was hurting from smiling. My stomach was hurting from laughing. Like I had tears streaming down my face from crying from all of the laughing. So glad I went. I liked John Mulaney before. I love John Mulaney now. So if you have the chance to go see him on tour, you might be a little skeptical and wonder like, how's it going to go? Totally worth it.
Nice.
Totally worth it. And then the last thing that I am 100%, like 150%, maybe 500% popping this week is the season finale of Only Murders in the Building. The show is the #1 release for Hulu of all time.
Oh, wow.
Top viewed show on Hulu. And if you're unfamiliar with it, it's got Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. An iconic trio if there ever was one. And it's a murder mystery based on, true crime podcast. And I've talked about it before that I liked it when I first started watching it. Now that the season is over, I have to say that I don't think I've ever seen a more perfect, cohesive, put together single season of any TV show in my life.
Why am I sleeping on this still? Like, that's insane.
I haven't been able to finish it. Are you able to expect things to happen? Is it totally surprising?
So for me,
because I feel like I know what's going to happen, so I don't even want to watch anymore.
Every time I thought I knew what was happening, it was not what I thought it was going to be. So there's a lot of clues to guide you in different directions. I will say by the second to the last episode, I was pretty sure what was going to happen. Except at the start of the finale, even my mind was still changing, and then it all just flipped from there. And there's a big twist in the finale. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's kind of a big twist or big cliffhanger, and it definitely sets up the second season of the show, which I'm really, really excited about. And I gotta say, like, as a fan of Saturday Night Live growing up, and as a fan of classic comedy, my parents are huge Steve Martin and Martin Short fans. I love that we get to see in the finale, especially the physical comedy from Steve Martin, and the fact that this dude is in his 70s and is still like flopping all over the place. And at one point getting crunched by an elevator. Like, it was just so, oh my gosh, it was so good. And my husband can vouch. I just looked at him and I was like, is my face melted? Like, I don't even know. I can't even function after watching that show. And I feel like everything is going to be a letdown from here on out until I can get season 2.
Nice.
Dang. Dude. All right. It's on the list. It's on the list.
Yeah, for real. I love Steve Martin. Actually, he's like one of my inspirations for comedic acting because he's so physical. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that because, this season it's different, Steve Martin.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we get classic, like ultimate classic Steve Martin in the finale.
Well, what I watched this week. Okay, first of all, I went to my first live show since the before times. I saw Bad Religion and Alkaline Trio. Any elder punks / elder emos will know. And they kicked ass. They were so good. I mean, they're getting up there, but they like played all of like the hits. There was one song that I wanted Alkaline Trio to play that they didn't. But beyond that, like, gosh, just being at a show again was so amazing. I missed it.
What venue?
It was at Marquee Theater in Tempe, Arizona. Nice little intimate, and you had to show your vaccination card or proof of a recent negative test to get in, which made me feel safer because there was a ton of people. At one point, I did get in the middle of a crowd and I was like, okay, mask on. But yeah, it was great.
Bad Religion was one of the first concerts I ever went to. They opened up for Blink-182 at the Coliseum in Phoenix.
Oh, that's sick.
And I think I was 11 or 12 years old.
That was my first time seeing Bad Religion live, and I think my second or third seeing Alkaline Trio. So it was amazing. I'm popping that show that happened that you guys can't see because it already happened. Other than that, my husband and I are trying to rewatch all of the Daniel Craig Bond movies before we see the newer one. Thinking back on all of these Bond movies, honestly, they all kind of meld into my brain into one big movie. I can't pick out any specific plot points except for Casino Royale. That was always the one that I was able to this is when this happens, and this is when she cries in the shower, and this is when he's almost dies in the poison, and that was my favorite Daniel Craig Bond movie. So rewatched that recently. I think it still holds up pretty well. I mean, Daniel Craig's I'm pretty sure they enhanced the blue of his eyes in that movie. Because I remember it was such a drama that they cast a blue-eyed Bond for a minute that I think they just kind of amped it up.
Pierce Brosnan blue-eyed?
I don't think so. No, I think he has brown eyes. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to watch the rest of these. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit down and watch every single one, but Casino Royale I still really enjoyed. I completely opposite of Bond movies. I'm also obsessed with baking shows with anybody who listens to this podcast.
They're both British.
This is very true. I just love British things. So I've been watching Great British Baking Show week to week. And I've also been watching Halloween Baking Championship on the Food Network, which I watch every Halloween season. It's goofy. They bake a bunch of Halloween things. Great British Baking Show continues to be my just kind of warm hug when the world gets you down and you just want make a nice cuppa and sit down and watch baking shows. Get that Hollywood handshake going. So popping those if you like baking and comfort. And finally, I feel like I am late to the show here, but I am finally watching Squid Game, and holy crap, it is so freaking good. I know you finished it, right, Alex?
Yeah, I did.
I won't spoil it. I don't want you to spoil it for me. I just got through episode 6. Anybody who's watching this knows what a hardcore, ridiculous episode that is.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
But man, this show is good. Just edge of my seat the entire time. You think you know who's going to live and who's going to die, and then you get curveballs thrown at you. Yeah, and I just can't wait to see how it's going to end.
Yeah, it's super popular. People been putting together games on Fortnite, GTA, Minecraft. Everybody's inspired. I've seen Instagram filters where you have to freeze or the doll lady is going to shoot your face.
Yes, I love all the memes that it's making and all the makeup challenges and things. And there's some bakery in Arizona where you can actually order those I think they're called Dalgona, the biscuit things they have to carve out, and you can try to do the little challenge. I mean, they don't shoot you in the head as far as I'm aware if you lose. Hopefully. Lose a lot of customers.
I see, they didn't waste any time on the Halloween costumes for that. The second that show came out, I'm on Google and it's here you go. Here's all the different, I'm I'm not even watching this.
I'm sure that Con this year is going to be a lot of Squid Game costumes at Con this year.
That'll be fun.
For sure. That was the one thing. Shout out to my brother if he's listening. He was why haven't you guys talked about Squid Game yet? Can you talk about Squid Game? Please talk about Squid Game. I was yeah, okay, we'll talk about it.
Well, we will talk about it. Everyone else is talking about it. It lives up to the hype. Definitely pop it.
Yeah. Well, I just watched the Chucky series, and this is actually leaving off of the last film, Cult of Chucky, and it's set now. And at least 2017 or so. At least I was reading something on Reddit. But, they bring back the creator, Don Mancini, and the original voice of Chucky, Brad Dourif. And it follows this kid who finds this antique good guy doll and takes him home. And he is doing some kind of art installation in his bedroom. So he picks up the doll for a purpose. And then all of a sudden, it's actually Chucky. And it's scary. It's on USA Sci-Fi. And, because it's on, these kind of networks, you think, okay, there's probably going to be a little, they're going to take back
They
some
get
of
away
the
with a lot in some of those networks, though.
It's scary. And it's fun. And I think part of the reason it's scary because it's I don't know, it's Chucky. It's like this innocent.
It's campy, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It is campy. But, you know, if you are into frights, then pop Chucky, the series.
'Tis the season for friends.
It's Halloween. Yeah,
Oh my
it is.
God.
I just got terrified.
Yeah, that was not a sound effect.
And I peed my pants.
It's a favorite holiday.
Well, speaking of Halloween, I saw Halloween Kills.
Ooh, how was it?
Oh, I want to see it.
That's Michael Myers, right?
It is.
Oh my God, I need it.
Okay. I don't feel a pop coming.
I don't.
If
Her
you-
eyes just dropped.
If you like the movies, I would kind of pop it. If you just want to see it, I would not waste your money. I was expecting so much more from this movie. It has Jamie Lee Curtis. She was literally just in a hospital bed the entire
Really?
movie, except for like
no.
the
She's
last.
who I'm most excited to see.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's already announced that they're coming out with another movie called Halloween Ends in October 2022. So obviously this isn't a spoiler. He's still alive. So yeah, I was just expecting so much more from this movie, but it's okay. I guess I'm really excited for Halloween Ends. Hopefully by the title that means that it's going to be over and Michael somehow dies. Hopefully Lori, whoever Kyle Richards play, I just know her because she's my girl in Real Housewives, and the granddaughter. Hopefully I'll find a way to kill him.
So evil doesn't die tonight because in the commercials.
Oh yeah, evil dies tonight. I'm like, shut up.
It's not gonna die because we're making lots of money on this
Exactly.
franchise.
I think I'm just going to still watch it just for entertainment.
No,
purposes.
yeah, you
I
totally
probably will
can,
too.
but just don't expect too much. I guess don't go into it expecting a lot.
Actually, I like that
could-
preparation.
But yeah, speaking of Real Housewives, I watched the first part of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, which started out incredible. I'm very excited for this reunion. In the first part, Lisa Rinna and Dorit kind of gang up on this lady named Garcelle, and they get into it about how Garcelle was kind of being insensitive and quote unquote bullying during the season.
Isn't that the point of the entire show? Is just for a bunch of women to bully each other, though?
No, not really, to
I
be
thought
honest.
that was like the plot of the show. Is everybody's just kind of a bitch to each other?
No, they're all like friends and stuff. So they're all just like going on vacations and they just document it because they're all married to rich, wealthy men that they just kind of all, I don't know,
So it's
But-
like it's just bragging.
pretty much.
Okay, got it.
But these women also all have made their own types of money. But now that they're married to rich men as well, they kind of just are more richer. But anyways, besides the point. It's actually really good because Garcelle is a black woman who obviously had to grow up in different ways than these other women have, because the other women, except for one who's named Crystal, she's of the Asian descent. So she and Garcelle kind of both grew up in the ways that these other women didn't have to. They had to try and fit in, and Garcelle opens up about that and says that it's always been hard for her to fit in, and she's always felt like an outcast in every group that she's ever been in. And the other women obviously never really realized that, but they are coming to terms with her opening up, and they're like, okay, we actually understand like why you've been like this throughout the whole entire time that you've been on this show. So their relationships are starting to build back up, and then the whole Erica stuff is going to start coming out, and I'm very excited about that. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, Erica is a woman on the show who was married to Tom Girardi, who is a big-time lawyer who is...
Yes, I have heard about this.
Yes, who is in some legal issues because he has stole so much money from victims of a plane crash. And she's claiming that she has absolutely no idea where this money's come from that went to her account from this plane crash. And
Sketchy.
there's a lot more behind it that I won't talk about because I can go on forever about it, and I'm not going to. But I would definitely pop it because if you know the Erica and Tom Girardi story, it's going to be super good.
So if we want some tea,
Yes, for sure. And then the other thing that I'm very excited for, it hasn't come out yet, but the trailer has, is Scream 5. I love these types of scary movies like Halloween, Scream. So I'm very excited. I am going to actually pop the trailer because it still has Sydney, Gale, and Dewey, but it has also a different kind of storyline. It goes back to a younger cast who looks like they're about in high school, and there's a killer on the loose again. And Sydney, Gale, and Dewey kind of team up with these teenagers and are trying to talk to them about how they are going to overpower this killer. And then kind of going back into Halloween, it talked about how you have to kill a killer because no matter how you abuse them, like you shoot them in the chest or whatever, they still are always alive. So they gave the idea you have to decapitate them or do something to their head in order for them to die. And if you ever watch a scary movie, they never do anything to their head. So if you're ever in if you're ever in a situation, just decapitate and you're good.
So I do not love horror movies, but in college I had to watch some of them for one of my classes, and one of them was Scream. And I ended up loving that movie so much. I did like a whole research paper on Wes Craven and his genius. But one of the reasons that I loved it so much was because they took this genre, made fun of it throughout the whole movie, and then still managed to make an extremely unpredictable twist at the end and have these iconic characters and Skate Ulrich and Matthew Lillard as the killers. And so I loved it so much, but I have never seen any of the other Screams because I was too afraid of being let down after loving the first one so much. So
I honestly have not seen any of the other ones except for the first one too.
Okay, Scream 2 is actually pretty good. I watched Scream 3. That one's pretty decent. I would honestly pop 1, 2, and 3. Don't think I've seen 4 yet, which I will have to do. But 5, I'm very excited for because Sydney, Gale, and Dewey are all grown up and adults.
And I don't know if any of you guys watched it, but I know that there's been a really successful Scream TV series.
That's right.
From MTV. And I've heard like a lot of really good things about that show. And I'm like, same thing. I'm like, should I? But I don't want anything to like taint my memories of seeing Scream for the first time and just absolutely falling in love with it. But I agree. I mean, the Scream 5 trailer, I'm excited. And I'm hoping that it lives up to the hype.
Yes, comes out January 2022. So be on the lookout.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Hayley the Brave, teacher and mom by day, cosplayer and pop culture junkie by, well, also by day. I'm obsessed with all things fandom and I love to talk about it. So join me and some of my friends as we geek out about TV, movies, music, and all the awesome things that make life worth living. Listen to my podcast, 30, Nerdy, and Thriving, available now on all major streaming platforms.
So DC FanDome happened recently, and boy, did we get a ton of content. So let's talk about what we have to look forward to from DC, because there is a ton of stuff.
Yeah, there was about, almost 4 hours of like announcements.
Yeah. Did you guys watch the Batman trailer?
I didn't. I watched within the first 40 minutes and I just haven't been able to get back to it because I really want to pay attention.
It's so good. I know you watched it, girl.
Yeah, I watched it. The Pattinson Batman voice, I'm kind of here for it.
Pattinson voice.
Pattinson. I'm kind of here for it, especially coming off of my Twilight binge. Like, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do it. But I'm actually really, really excited because I think like as a Bruce Wayne type character, he's actually a really good fit. And I'm excited to see Paul Dano, I think, is the Riddler, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then it's
The
Zoe.
Riddlers? What?
Yeah, Riddler's in it, dude. Listen, this trailer's got it all. Zoe Kravitz is Selena Kyle, and she looks gorge and badass.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
I need to get on this trailer.
The thing that's going to shock you the most of this trailer, I think, is Colin Farrell, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't even realize it was him. Like, I remember hearing that he was going to be in this movie.
Is he playing Gordon or something?
He is not. He's playing Penguin. And it does. If you didn't know it was him, if someone didn't tell you, you wouldn't be able to tell. His makeup is ridiculous. Just the prosthetic work. So I'm really excited. I've heard some like early kind of gossip about this movie that it's going to be kind of horrific. Like it's going to be a scary Batman movie. So I don't know. I think it's going to be unique.
Yeah, there was that. I'm excited for that. I mean, there was so much more the DC FanDome too.
Yes.
Like it wasn't because the Black Adam finally got to see The Rock as like Black Adam. I don't know how I feel about it. I think I want to wait for the movie to actually like give it a.
Need an actual trailer.
Yeah.
I think it was just kind of teaser stuff.
It's kind of giving me Aquaman vibes, like
for sure.
In kind of the like, there's going to be tons of CGI, which that's kind of how all these superhero movies are, but at least for me, like Shang-Chi is one. I know it's more, we're talking Marvel now.
I haven't seen that.
Okay. Join, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Why are you here right now? But that's one where, like, yeah, there's tons of CGI, especially in the back half. But at least in the beginning, like, it's not as obvious, right?
I totally agree.
It's set in a city. It's, like, kind of normal. And I don't know, for stuff like Black Adam, where it's just so, like, otherworldly, I'm like,
It's hard to feel connected to it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's films like Guardians of the Galaxy that are set in space and that are otherworldly, where I feel completely connected to the characters. So that might just be a DC struggle, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they have a hard time presenting characters that make you really feel for them sometimes.
And I don't know how much budget-wise Warner Brothers allocates to, like, physical sets.
Yeah.
Versus, like, because we've seen some of the, like, behind the scenes of The Rock, filming some of this stuff, and it's like he's in the middle, and there's like one structure that he's standing on, and the rest is just a green screen, and I'm like, ugh.
Even his announcement, he was standing.
Yeah,
it kind of looked like he was
was
floating. He's like in green screen. The Flash teaser came out, and we got to hear some Michael Keaton Batman voiceover. Yes.
He is my favorite Batman.
Yeah.
When we talk about, like, the new Batman, like, I love different approaches to superheroes just because of curiosity, for curiosity's sake. But, like, Keaton's my Batman. Like,
he's a good Batman.
Burton Batmans are my favorite ones. So
I totally agree. It's interesting to see how they all approach it differently, and how some of them are kind of more campy and others are more brooding. I think Pattinson's going to be a brooder for sure. We got some teasers for The Peacemaker. We got information on Aquaman 2. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is in development. And it looks like Lucy Liu's going to be in Shazam 2.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
I love Shazam.
Yeah, me too.
That was like a welcome surprise. Like, my
Yeah.
husband and I did a binge of DC movies during our quarantine watch a bunch of bad movies series. And so we decided we'd go back and watch all the DC movies we missed. And Shazam was the one where, like, I got to the end and I was like, oh, I really liked that.
Yeah.
Like, I was really, really surprised.
I really liked it too. I thought, like, Zachary Levi was amazing and hilarious, and even like the kids did an amazing job. Like, kid actors are so hit and miss for me sometimes, but no, I thought they held it up great.
Yeah. Speaking of kids, this shows you that I'm the mom of the group. But one of the announcements at FanDome that I was, like, really excited about was Teen Titans Go is having a crossover with the DC Superhero Girls show. And it's going to be like a big movie. And I'm like, immediately I saw it and I was like, oh, my daughter's going to lose her mind. But I actually love Teen Titans Go. I'm like that weird person that will fight with you that it's actually better than Teen Titans, but that's neither here nor there. But I actually, like, when it comes to watching content aimed at, kids, I have to sit through a lot of garbage.
Yeah.
And Teen Titans Go is one where I have, admittedly, turned it on by myself. No kids around.
That's what I'm doing with the Rugrats right now.
Rugrats is solid.
Nice.
It's good. Yeah. So you might like it. Check out Teen Titans Go.
I did look at the list of things coming out.
Ooh, did something
And
strike your fancy?
It did. If this is true, it's on the list, so it must be true, right? It's on the internet.
Absolutely.
Of course. It's on the DCcomics.com, so must be true. But it's the DC's League of Super Pets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
true.
am very excited because, one, it's pets. I love pets. And two, it actually has a pretty good voice cast. It's Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Vanessa Bayer, John Krasinski, Diego Luna, Natasha Lyonne, Kate McKinnon, and Keanu Reeves.
That's a
Is
stacked
this-
cast.
Is this
Yeah.
from, like, Pets, like the movie Pets?
No. So
No? Okay, 'cause-
in the DC universe, there are lots of just pets that exist. Superman has a dog. They're all just kind of animals with, some of them have superpowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
was
I
like,
guess they're
that
getting a
is
cartoon.
a solid cast. And it says it comes out May 20 of 2022. So if anyone's down to go see it, it says hit screen. So I'm assuming it's going to be in the movie theaters, or just wherever it's going to be airing streaming. But I'm down to watch that.
Probably on HBO Max.
Probably.
Most DC stuff.
We also got a look at Peacemaker, who we all got to see in The Suicide Squad. I'm iffy on how I feel about him having his own show. Because
It's a show or is it a movie?
It's a show. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
really?
series.
Yeah.
I thought it was a movie and I was excited for it, but now it's a show. We got to watch more of it.
I mean, okay, so spoiler for Suicide Squad if you haven't seen it, like whatever, what's wrong with you? So I loved Peacemaker throughout 75%.
Yeah, the last 25%, then you effing hate him.
Exactly. So the second he kills Rick Flag, I'm like, well, you are like the most hated person on the planet. And then they're like,
Exactly.
and now he's back and he's getting his own show. And I'm like, but why would you do that?
But he's a murderer and he's a villain and like
Yeah.
none of us like him and he's obviously a dick. He's just his whole character is that he's just kind of this like murderous douche.
Yeah,
You
I know.
I feel that way, but I also feel that it being John Cena
Yeah.
as the character, for some reason, I think there's going to, I don't know. I'm pretty neutral about John Cena, but
My
I feel like
thought-
he does good with this
Yeah,
role.
my thought is that they're going to introduce complexities to the character in the way that they did with like John Walker on, the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, where he sees himself as the good guy, and he says in the movie like, I love peace, I don't care. But how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get it? Like, he really does think that he's doing the right thing. So I think if they approach it from the comedic perspective that they had in the movie, I don't think they can redeem him in any way. So as long as they don't go that route.
I was just thinking that, but by the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I didn't hate John Walker as much as I did in the beginning. Like in the beginning, he was like, the internet hated him. And then by the end, I was like, I mean, he's not redeemed, but like, I'm interested to see kind of where they take him.
Right, because he stood there and was like, I am what you made me. Like, I'm doing what you want me to do. So, who knows if Peacemaker can have that type of realization? We'll see.
We're going to watch it.
Yeah, we'll watch it.
Yeah.
Darn it, we are, aren't we?
will.
Shoot.
I'm also excited for Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, the video game
Oh,
that they
yeah.
announced.
Yeah.
Looks awesome. I am a big fan of the Injustice video games. I've based some of my cosplays off of that game. So the second I saw this one, I was like, oh crap. New cosplays I got to get.
More money.
More money. But, I'm not a huge gamer. I kind of reserve my time for games that I really, really like. And this is one I'm excited about. What else? What else is going on in the news?
So, kind of going on a different topic, my two cities were in the WNBA championships, Phoenix Mercury and Chicago Sky. Chicago Sky did come out on top and win the whole entire championship, which I'm very proud of them. I'm very, very happy for Candace Parker. She, in my opinion, not even just because she plays for Chicago, but she deserves it more than anyone. She's been in the league for so many years, and this is, I believe, her first championship that she's won. I believe she was in two prior to this, but did not win them. And just the videos that have come out of it, that you just see her bawling her eyes out. She runs towards her daughter and her family and just gives them the biggest hug. And honestly, the best thing to come out of it is after the championship, they went through the Portillo's drive-thru in Chicago and just got food. And if you're from
I think I've seen
Chicago,
you snap about that place.
yeah, probably. And if you're from Chicago or know anything about it, Portillo's is top-notch, so good. So it's just really funny that they did that.
I was a little sad about the Mercury. I mean, Diana Taurasi's the GOAT. I know she smashed a door in or whatever, but like, I don't know. I like seeing the Phoenix teams succeed, and it's just so heartbreaking after the Suns got so close for the Mercury to get so close and for it to slip away.
Although the
But-
Mercury
Yes.
do have 3 championship titles and 5 conference titles under their belt already.
That's true.
So
You're
I am
right.
a little happy for Chicago that they get to bring one to their city. I will say, I saw somebody on Twitter and they were like, after watching this series between the Sky and the Mercury, like it is high time that we quit talking about the WNBA as second tier basketball. Like
Absolutely.
it was competitive, like top athletes in the sport. Like you said, Diana Taurasi, like
Yep.
man.
Dude, I love Mercury games. Anytime I get a chance to go, the energy is incredible, and everyone is so freaking talented and tall.
Yeah.
Look
Like,
out
you
for
literally-
Pop Culture Junkies next season, recording live
Yes.
from the Phoenix Mercury game.
Dude, that'd be sick.
But yeah, like you said, Diana Taurasi, GOAT. And so, in my opinion, Candace Parker's also a GOAT. Like, the two top-notch women's basketball players both playing in the championship, like, you cannot beat that. And I agree. You have to stop putting down women's sports because they are just as competitive and so much fun to watch and be at as much as men's sports.
period.
Yeah.
Period.
It's a great time for sports right now. This, World Series is happening. We're midway through the NFL.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening. I mean, the Red Sox are playing and in the World Series, and my heart is obviously jumping. They set history recently by being the first team ever to hit multiple Grand Slams in the same series.
That was
That's
crazy.
cool.
Yeah. So shout out to Boston.
That's super crazy. My husband the other day, like out of nowhere, I'm getting ready for work. He's all, here's a fun fact. Did you know that Fenway Park opened 2 days after the Titanic sank or something? Like, okay, great. Thank you.
The more you know.
Yeah, like, thanks.
Thanks, babe.
But you're right. It is a very exciting time in sports. Spent some time in downtown Phoenix, like I mentioned, for the comedy show. And we were eating at a restaurant down there, and it was like every bar, every restaurant was packed with people watching the World Series. And, we got to shout out our Arizona Cardinals being 6-0 right now. It is like
Kicking ass.
such a good time to be a Cardinals fan and live in the Valley. And like now coming off of a great Sun season, great Mercury season, and now for the Cardinals to be having this type of season. If the Diamondbacks could get in line at some point, that'd be cool too.
You guys are like the embarrassing, like, oh God, they're here.
And the Coyotes, but we just won't go there.
Just think about the Cardinals.
Yeah, Coyotes passed me up on a job, so
We won't be recording live at a Phoenix.
just kidding. I'll still be there, but when they play the Chicago Blackhawks.
We'll all be Blackhawks fans.
Yeah, there we go.
I want to talk about William Shatner and space. Space.
Good for him.
I was trying to channel Alex a little bit there. But yeah, William Shatner officially became the oldest person to ever be on a space launch. He rode upon the Blue Origin rocket on October 13th. Blue Origin is owned by Jeff Bezos. It's his
Penis rocket?
It's his penis rocket that he flies because he's very rich and very Caucasian. And if you're very rich and Caucasian, you can also fly on the penis to space.
The caucasity.
But I mean, Jeff Bezos, whatever, like, bleh. But Shatner in space is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk.
He paid frontiers by being part of the first interracial kiss on television.
Yeah,
and
that's
now
right.
he is a pioneer being the oldest dude to go to space.
Wow. Yeah. I think I heard somewhere that he made out or had a very significant amount of alien relationships in Star Trek.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say during the flight. And I was like, we don't know what went on that flight. Listen, I heard it was only 15 minutes long, but for Shatner, that might be long enough.
He's like, gotta take these blue pills before I get on Blue Origin.
It's shaped like a penis. Listen.
Yeah, well, when you go up, gravity goes down.
Does everything float in space? All right.
This took a turn I did not anticipate when we started talking about it.
I don't know if what I said was accurate.
Oh
I was
my
just trying to make a funny joke.
All right, so speaking of horny people, I don't know if you guys saw the British GQ interview with Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox.
God.
Okay, I have a lot of thoughts about this relationship and its continued presence in the media. And so I wanted to get your guys' thoughts about it. So just to real briefly recap, I mean, I can't even share every single quote from...
Share the main one that everybody is obsessed with
so
right
the
now.
main one is Megan Fox describes the first time that she ever met Machine Gun Kelly. He walks into a room and she looks at him and she just says, "You smell like weed." And then he looks at her and says, "I am weed." And then she says that he just disappeared in a puff of smoke and she didn't even see him leave. And she said it was like something out of a dream. And everybody online's like, what the Wattpad is this? This is the dumbest type of fan fiction I've ever read. And then he also said that their first kiss wasn't actually a kiss. They just breathed each other and didn't touch lips. They just hovered there and breathed each other.
That's what my husband and I do. We just open up our mouths really wide and just breathe each other's air in
That's
and
how my
out.
dog wakes me up in the morning.
Just warm breath on you.
So I don't know. So I'm reading through this and here are my thoughts. One is, why is the media continuing to push this relationship all the time? There's a new photo shoot. There's a new magazine interview. They're at award shows. They're on. Is it just because Megan Fox is really hot? Is it because he is like a bad boy, and so there's like what is it?
You know what this reminds me of is when Angelina was with Billy Bob, and they would give those interviews on the red carpet, and he's like, "You want to know a secret? We effed in the car on the way here." Just like, and they're just tonguing each other in public, like, and it was just a whirlwind, and then all of a sudden they stopped.
And we know how well that ended.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I think it's just because they are so salacious and absurd. And also because Megan Fox is drop dead gorgeous. And I think the whole Travis Barker, Kourtney Kardashian friendship, that the four of them are all just kind of obviously all kind of tonguing each other, just and adds to it.
They're engaged now.
Yes, they are.
So who knows if MGK and Megan Fox are going to follow suit? They're twin flames. I just can't get over like the word choice that they use in their interviews. And like the stupid captions on like Megan's Instagram posts, like we're, devil incarnate meets with halo, love, tongue. What is happening here? Like this is, it's, I saw someone describe it as this is what would happen if you put two 13-year-olds in adult bodies and gave them millions of dollars.
To me, it sounds like they're meant for each other.
I think this sounds like they're deeply, truly, madly in love with each other.
This is the relationship goals.
Goals, hashtag goals.
Well, and she said, she was married to Brian Austin Green before this and actually met MGK while she was technically still married. And she says, in this same interview that she's now who she always was and who she felt like she had to kind of hide inside and deep down. And
I mean, that sounds awesome. Good for her for that.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe that's true. Maybe she really did feel like she was just living this other life. And now this is this like ultimate freedom. I do not get why that was brought about by Machine Gun Kelly of all people, who looks...
He's a fine specimen.
Like a dollar store Kurt Cobain, but whatever.
Somebody's crush.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. But everything I have learned about their relationship has been against my will. So if, as long as it just fades into the background, I'd be content with that.
They're going to break up. They're going to be a Pete and Ariana where we're just bombarded with their faces smushing against each other 24/7. And all of a sudden they break up and then talk a lot of crap about each other.
True.
He's in it for her thumbs.
She has some bomb thumbs. Listen.
Of all the things
clubbing. She go clubbing with us.
Would be into her. I really hope it is our thumbs.
Yeah. Well, something I wanted to bring up was Dave Chappelle's The Closer on Netflix and the reaction that has been getting. So Netflix employees have planned a walkout and protest of the show because of its transphobia. And I'm actually interested in what you guys think about that.
I think that true satire is when you can make fun of people in power and in positions of power. If you are making fun of people who are marginalized, that's not satire. That's just
Did you watch
bullying. I've only seen clips of it, I will admit.
Yeah, I think that's important because he does that. At least in my opinion, he is empowering the minority. And he's empowering Black people. He's empowering Asian people. He's empowering trans people. I think, and even just you saying that, I don't have the utmost respect for you. I love you. I love everybody here. But it kind of proves his point. In this special, he talks about, people, come to me mad at me without actually taking the time to know me or even listen to my shows. Throughout the special, he's really just trying to bring empathy and really compare struggles. There's a point in this special where he talks about this trans person he knows. And there's a point where the trans person stops Dave abruptly and is like, hey, I don't need you to understand me. I just need you to believe what I'm going through, along those lines. But it's saying I just need you to believe that my struggles are real. And, as a Black man, those struggles exist too. And what he ends up talking about is his frustration. Black people have been fighting for equal justice for hundreds of years. hundreds of years. I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat that. And the thing is, like, he talks a lot about just wanting to listen to each other. Like, what he talks about, who he has a problem with, is white supremacy. And that's what he talks about there. He talks about white supremacy. They're coming at us. And, well, guess what? Some trans people are white. And honestly, I don't even think that this is even has to do with the show anymore. I think this is about an anti-transphobic, and which I'm definitely down for. And, I mean, from the special, from what I understand, I watched it twice, Dave feels the same way. You know, he brings up examples through history. He brings up things that currently happen. He talks about the baby killing somebody out of self-defense at a Walmart. But, you know, he's famous, but then, you know, he makes some horrible comments. Everybody agrees on that. But that's what pushed people to cancel the baby. He talks about how Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, it took him a lot more to change his name than it did for Caitlyn Jenner to be a woman. And, you know, it's just things that continue to happen. He says, I'm jealous of you. I'm jealous of you. Like, we've been fighting for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. There's, you know, but, you know, there's examples throughout history. And even just, you know, somebody who just kneels at a football game against police brutality, he affected his livelihood. Like, all these things are happening. And, you know, it's just, it's frustrating to me, too. And, I mean, like, people, you know, fight against police brutality, systemic racism. Systemic racism exists. It's in the Emancipation Proclamation. Yep. Yes, it frees slaves. But if you listen or like read to the Emancipation Proclamation, it also creates the prison pipeline. Like, these things are in our laws in our everyday life. And all we want to do is be able to just get equal justice, equality, just like everybody else. So I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. He talks about supporting each other, supporting the movement against white supremacy, and I agree. And I think that's why it's important to watch the special to get further understanding as to what is actually going on. And again, I know I have the most love for you.
Off.
But
go off.
I think,
I admit I haven't seen the entire special all the way through. And it's something I'm going to have to do. And I mean, I can't speak on these issues. Obviously, I am a white, straight, cis woman. But like, obviously, I support of the, you know, pro-black movement. I support the pro-trans movement, and white supremacy can go F itself. I need to actually like have the context for it before I make a judgment on it. I get what you're saying. Yeah,
I mean, like, he even brings up the women's suffrage movement on how there was a black woman trying to be like, hey, why don't we like do this together? And they were like, no.
Oh, so much of the feminist movement leaves out black women and women of color. So much of it. It's ridiculous. The Civil Rights Act didn't come until the 60s. Yep. They're like later. I know. And then when people always celebrate women's rights to vote, I'm like, not all women got the right to vote, actually.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's, you know, I've been reading a lot of online commentary. I haven't watched the special either. I think for me, the voices that I appreciate seeing amplified are specifically black trans individuals and hearing their perspective of what Dave Chappelle said. And specifically, you know, I read one comment saying that LGBTQ plus encompasses such a wide variety of human beings of all races and ethnicities and genders and orientations. And it's important that none of those voices are left out and all those voices are heard. And so I think, you know, when it comes to stuff like this, I think it's important to do your research and to hear all the
Flame Monroe is a black trans comedian, and she defends Dave Chappelle. She's black and trans, so why don't you listen to her? She's on both sides. She understands the struggle of both people, you know, just what that means. And yeah, it's just...
So I have a question. Did Netflix walk out against him or in support of him?
So there are staff members in Netflix who work at Netflix who are walking out because this special is on Netflix. They're like, take it out. It's very transphobic. You know, we don't want to like... We don't want this here. This isn't, you know, this is, it's, and I'm not going to lie. There are some points in it where that I felt even kind of weird listening to. And, but, you know, I felt like, ooh, that was kind of like, that was kind of harsh, but it's his art. That's what he does. And the thing is, you know, we talk about like evolving as well, like as comedians, and he's done that. He doesn't call anybody out of their identity. You know, he's very respectful in the entire thing. And, you know, also, what is art if it doesn't challenge you? Like, if it doesn't, like, get us discussing this? Like, honestly, I kind of compare Dave Chappelle talking about gender identity to, or at least like using his art to challenge people, to Lil Nas X challenging people on sexual preference and sexual identity. They challenge the conversation and they create that to happen. And he's just being He's just being truthful.
I'm just reading this quote right now from Dave Chappelle that he talking about being transgender, and he said, I wouldn't consider myself transphobic because I'm not even sure what that term means. Do I discriminate against somebody because they're trans? I would like to think absolutely not. It's not something that I'm going to say I clearly understand this, that, and the other. I'm not an obstructionist of anybody's lifestyle. So to me, it seems like he could stand to educate himself a little bit more on things before he decides to speak out on them on such a large platform. So
I think so too. I think before obviously, he's part of a group, like you said, that has been fighting for rights that I could never put myself in those shoes. But if you get on a stage and talk about those things, but then you're like, I really don't even get it anyway. It's like, well, then why did you even bring it up?
I mean, there's a whole special on it. I think that's an excerpt. That's a quote, but it has an entire special.
But I guess, is there a way he could have said the same thing or gotten his point across without labeling himself a TERF and aligning with J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, and then using the term like alphabet people. Called them the alphabet people.
That was a special before, but
he's transphobic for multiple specials.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it does, at least in my opinion, show that he has grown. He does take in what people say, and tries to educate himself more and more and more as he goes on. He said this, and he. I'm not gonna. You guys don't have to watch it. That's all up to you, but. I think this special really does a way of just kind of putting things into his perspective, and like I'm not saying that being transphobic is not a problem and that we can't be accountable for what we do and what we say, but we are still learning. And I think just by hearing this special and comparing it to previous specials and how his tone is and the conversations that he's having, you can see that there's growth. You can see that there's evolution in it.
Yes, I think everyone can learn something from no matter who
to
you
other
are.
People, yeah,
no matter who you are, what you are, no matter what, you can learn something. And I think that this was a great conversation that we did have. I'm glad we had it. We all, I feel like, learned from one another. But with that being said, I think it is time to close our show. So why don't we all just tell everyone where they can find us?
I am Shauna, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Shauna Trinidad, ShaUnaTrinidad.
This is Alex. You can find me at ALCASNUN on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me, Hayley, on Twitter at 30nerdypod and on Instagram at 30nerdythriving.
And you can find me, Nicole, on Instagram and TikTok at Nicole_Eldridge and on Twitter at NAEldridge14. You can find the Pop Culture Junkie podcast on our website at www.popculturejunkie.com. Please join our support group on Facebook, the Pop Culture Junkie support group, where you can continue to have these discussions with us or bring up any new discussions that you want to have. You can follow us on Twitter at Pop Junkies and on Instagram at pop.culturejunkies. If you do not get any of that, it is all on our website. So be sure to go check that out. And come back next week for another hit of pop culture.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group. All rights reserved.